There's all of our friend Mark Levin. I was with him during the whole 18-month process of him writing his book, Liberty and Tyranny. Liberty and Tyranny was released yesterday. He's going to be on the program in this hour tomorrow. Liberty and Tyranny is a conservative manifesto, and it is brilliantly written. Because while it is constitutional, it is easily understandable, it is a page-turner, as a novel is, and you don't find books like this that can make that claim. It is now #1 at Amazon. It is now #1 at Barnes & Noble. It is now #1 at every national place you can buy books. If you have ever, and I get emails from people all the time, Rush, what would you suggest as a reading list that I can go get and understand conservatism, or that I could give to somebody else who doesn't understand it? You don't need a reading list. You need a book. You need this one. I would recommend you getting this book for yourself and buying extra copies to give away. Liberty and Tyranny. It is by Mark Levin. He'll be here tomorrow. But there are a few people who are out there fighting for our liberty. I'm one of them. Sean Hannity is another. Levin. There are the bunch of them out there. And we are being characterized as mean and angry. And we are being characterized as people who just say no to Obama. The nice, smooth, suave, debonair, yuck it up guys are the ones taking away our liberty. They are the ones who are usurping the Constitution and assaulting capitalism and individual liberty and freedom on a daily basis. You see, blunt, tough talk often is what you get from honest people. Smooth, evasive, strawman arguments emanate from dishonest people. Now, unfortunately, that's confusing to the governed because of their ignorance and the fact that their emotions are easily manipulated. Now, Mark Levin, who is he? He's a legal scholar. He's a constitutional scholar. He runs the Landmark Legal Foundation. He was chief of staff for Ed Meese when he was attorney general in the Reagan administration. And Mark Levin is a bare-knuckles fighter for freedom. The left labels him mean and angry, while Obama is labeled as compassionate and reasonable and engaging, while fighting to snatch liberty from people at every turn with a heart that is as cold as ice. So we've got Levin's book, Liberty and Tyranny. It embraces liberty. It's out. It is #1 wherever books are sold. Obama's plans, they're also out for taking it away. You can read them every day in the Washington Post. Open the New York Times on Sunday, the Washington Post today. Executive pay limitations, not just on TARP bailout companies, but all companies. Geithner wants to be able to take over any company that he wants to be able to take over. The Barack Obama Take Freedom and Liberty Away from People plan is out there, and it's published in the newspapers every day. It's on ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, CNN every day and every night. Mark Levin's book is also out, Embracing Liberty. There is an epic struggle that is underway. Public sector versus private sector, collectivism versus the individual, liberty versus tyranny. Good versus evil. You can sum all this up by saying there's an epic struggle underway. Good versus evil. Our country's mislabeled scholars, journalists, late-night funny guys, and Washingtonian wizards of smart spew a relentless stream of propaganda smearing the people who fight for liberty. They label freedom fighters as the bad guys. We're told that people like Mark Levin are the ones wearing black hats. You have to make it easy to see who to root against. We're told that people standing up for individual liberty, which by definition are people opposed to the Obama administration, we are the black-hatted people. We are the people you need to be afraid of. We are the ones fighting for your liberty and freedom, and we're supposed to be the ones you need to fear. Well, those taking your liberty away are on Leno. They're on 60 Minutes. They're on the covers of pop culture magazines. They're trying to appear nice and funny. And what of us? It's the so-called good guys, folks, who are the ones laughing about the economy, insulting special needs children, instigating mob rule in Connecticut, and taking time out to slander Justice Scalia as a homophobe. That's the latest from Barney Frank. And that's all about the Defense of Marriage Act. And all Scalia's ever said, I don't see marriage in the Constitution, so I don't think we should be ruling on this. Scalia is thus labeled a homophobe by Barney Frank, when all Scalia is a brilliant constitutional scholar, as is Mark Levin. Liberty and tyranny. Unfortunately, it's difficult for too many Americans to know who is fighting for our liberty and who isn't. But Levin is, and I can't emphasize this enough. I don't want to overdo it. It's a great book, and it does meet the requirement that so many of you have asked me about. Rush, what can I read to explain conservatism? This starts at the founding, comes to the present, shows you the bastardization that's happened in this country. You won't recognize your country after you read this book, and that's good. You need to understand what the left has done and how far we have come from the principles and concepts of our founding to where we are now. This is the kind of book that people will read in the bathroom with a flashlight on college campi. This is the kind of book that people will send with no return address to their parents, boyfriends, and girlfriends. This is the kind of book that's going to spread like wildfire through the underground. People who read it won't admit to having read it. They'll just claim what they've learned from it as their own knowledge. It will be passed around in various places in a plain brown wrapper with whispers, read this. Don't tell anybody where you got it. And at some point, after all this happens, Levin will come under assault from the Wizards of Smart. And sadly, Levin will come under assault from the pseudo-conservatives on our side, the moderates, self-proclaimed, who will be threatened. Because this is not just an explanation of Reaganism. This is not just an explanation of conservatism as it applies today. This is the history of the United States and how our country is being lost. And it also has at the end of the book some things you can do. Because people also ask, what can I do? Okay, I've read it. What can I do? The important thing here is to read this and to pass it along. You do not need to have gone to Harvard. You don't even have to have gone to Blagojevich's high school. This read is easy, even though the material can be technical. The Constitution sometimes is technical to people. Liberty and Tyranny, if it's not sold out yet, I mean, I was stunned today to learn after one day out there, and without having me even mention it, it's already number one. That's incredible. Normally, they don't get to number one till I mention them. What this tells me is there is a hunger, there is a thirst among the people of this country for something to grab onto and hold on to, because there are millions of people who didn't vote for this. They're scared to death of it. And this book is a security blanket. Back in just a second. We're going to make Levin's book such a powerful, dominating number one that they're going to have to come up with a new number, a new category to describe it. Number one won't be enough. The real number one will be lagging so far behind Levin's book, Liberty and Tyranny. I'm not exaggerating this in the slightest. This is the book that everybody's been waiting for. And I know it was not an easy write. He had slogged through this because it is researched. When I say it wasn't easy, it took a lot of time. This is not just somebody pontificating on page off the top of their heads. This is research. This is historical. It's factual. It's got everything in it you need to answer an objection that somebody might have to it.